My dad fired me from the family business I built because I canceled my sister's wedding reservations after she uninvited me. He handed my job to her fiance. Now their dream business collapsed, and I watched the family that used me lose everything they thought they controlled. Hey, Reddit. My family thought I existed to fix their messes and pay their bills. One day I stopped, and everything fell apart. They called it betrayal. I call it finally waking up. But let's start from the beginning. It was close to 10 at night, and the office was empty except for the sound of the printer and my keyboard. I'd been working on a commercial bid worth about $75,000 for one of our repeat clients. I remember feeling tired but good about it. The company needed the deal, and I was finally seeing a light after 2 rough months. My phone buzzed. Group text from my sister Tara. "You're out of the wedding planning. Evan thinks it's best." That was it. No explanation, no thanks for everything, nothing. Just that one line. I sat there for a minute staring at it, waiting for maybe a follow-up, but the chat stayed quiet. I scrolled up and saw the name of the group, Family Wedding Crew, with Mom, Dad, Tara, and her fiancé Evan in it. My own parents were in there, and neither said a word. I called home. Mom picked up. "Don't start drama, Lucas," she sighed. "Drama?" I said. "I just got a text saying I'm out of the wedding. I already paid $12,000 for this thing." "You're making everything about money again?" she said, like it was the worst crime in the world to keep track of what you spent. Then Dad's voice in the background. "Let them handle it, Lucas. You're too controlling." "I'm handling the bills you told me to handle," I said. That's what I was doing. "Dad, they'll figure it out. You always make things harder than they need to be." I hung up before I said something worse. I leaned back in my chair and looked around the office. The framed photo from last year's company barbecue sat on my desk. Everyone's smiling, including Tara and Evan, who at the time were calling me the rock of the family. I opened my laptop again, clicked through folders, and told Nadia, our bookkeeper, to back up every document with my name on it. "All of it?" she asked, rubbing her eyes. "Yeah. Contracts, invoices, accounts, everything I signed or paid for." She didn't ask why. She'd worked with me long enough to know when something wasn't right. While she worked on the backup, I scrolled through my email receipts. The venue deposit, $5,000, paid from my personal card. The florist deposit, $800. The tuxedo rentals charged to our company Amex issued in my name, just for convenience. The honeymoon deposit under my name because Evan's credit card limit was too low. All those transfers and confirmations sitting neatly in my inbox. Then I opened my spreadsheet and added a new line at the bottom. Wedding total, $12,430 to date. I wasn't angry, not really. It just hit me how easy it was for them to erase me from something I practically built for them. Tara had been stressing for months about how Evan's income was up and down, and Mom kept saying, "Don't worry, Lucas will handle it." So I did, because that's what I'd always done. I thought back to December, when the venue needed the deposit. Tara called crying about how they'd lose the date if they didn't pay that day. I paid it. Then the dress, she said she'd Venmo me next week. That was 4 months ago. Then the business payroll issue. Dad said, "Spot us for 2 weeks, son. We've got a slow client." I covered it. The 2 weeks turned into 6. It wasn't one big betrayal. It was 100 small ones, and I'd let all of them slide. Nadia finished the backup and handed me a flash drive. "Here," she said. I slipped it in my pocket. "Thanks. Go home. I'll lock up." Before leaving, I deleted the wedding group chat from my phone. Not the old family thread. That one I'd only muted. This was the wedding-only thread. Then I opened my work email and made a new folder for the wedding payments. I dragged every confirmation, invoice, and message into it. The list filled half the screen. The office was dark except for the monitor's glow. The quote for that client was still open, waiting for the last numbers. I saved the file, closed the laptop, and turned off the lights. As I was walking out, my phone buzzed again. A text from Mom. "Please don't make this harder for your sister." No thank you, no, we'll talk about it. Just another command dressed up as a favor. I didn't answer. By the time I got to the parking lot, the night air felt cold. I stood there a second, looking back at the office windows, and thinking how much time I'd wasted trying to keep everyone else's world running while mine just sat on pause. That's when it clicked. If they wanted me out of the wedding, fine. They could also be out of my wallet, out of my patience, out of my spare time fixing every problem they created. I unlocked my truck, dropped the flash drive into the center console, and turned on the engine. "They cut me out on a group text," I said to no one. Then I put the truck in gear. "Fine. They can handle the bill. Now you know what happened. Let me tell you a bit about us. My name's Lucas Ward, I'm 32, and I run operations for our family's construction company, Ward Construction and Design. My dad, Gerald, started it in the late 90s. Mom, Denise, handles client relations, which mostly means gossip and lunch meetings. I'm the one who actually runs the crews, manages payroll, handles bids, all of it. My sister Tara doesn't work there. She's an influencer, or tries to be. Her fiancé Evan hovers around, always talking about big opportunities. The next morning, I sat down at my desk, opened the shared accounts, and started checking what had my name on it. Every transaction, every invoice. It wasn't anger driving me. It was curiosity that had run out of patience. Dad's been using the same lines my whole life. You're lucky, you make more. Mom always added her version. We'll pay you back when the refinance goes through. There was always another refinance. Another excuse. I kept fixing everything because that's what I'd always done. While I was sorting through receipts, I thought about how this pattern never stopped. Even at work, Dad bragged about me to clients. My son's the brains of this place. Then called me kid in front of the crew. I'd built this company into something organized, profitable, stable, but I was still treated like a spare part they could swap out whenever they wanted. Around noon, our attorney, Victor Hale, dropped by to finalize some permits for a small commercial job. He's the type who talks like every problem's minor paperwork. We went over signatures, project numbers, all normal until he flipped through a folder and said, "By the way, that ownership transfer went through. Evan's now a 15% partner." I stopped. "Partner where?" "Here," Victor said, tapping the company name on the header. Ward Construction. I frowned. "With what money?" He squinted at the file. "They reclassified your prior loan advances as a capital contribution under your name, then issued Evan 15% against that papered equity." I didn't say anything for a full 10 seconds. "You're telling me I paid for it?" He shrugged. "That's what it says." He closed the folder. "I assumed you approved it." He was gone before I even stood up. I walked straight to Nadia's desk. She looked up, confused. "We're changing access," I said. "Today." "To what?" "All company cards except mine. Cancel them. Auto payments, off. Move active logins to my account only. Do it quietly." She blinked. "That's going to upset them." "They'll live," I said. "Start with the AMEX." She opened her laptop. I stood beside her until she confirmed the deactivation email. I wasn't taking any more chances. Back in my office, I opened our bank portal and looked through the recent expenses. Several payments labeled consulting fee and marketing bonus sat under Evan's name. They hadn't been there 2 weeks ago. I screenshotted everyone and saved them to a flash drive. I pulled the drawer open and took out every paper statement I had from the past year. Each line told the same story. Me paying, them promising. Around 3, Mom called. I answered, because I knew she'd keep trying. "Your father says the company cards aren't working," she said. "They're canceled." "Why would you do that?" "Evan needs access now that he's a partner. He can use his own," I said. "That's not very supportive, Lucas." "I'm done supporting grown adults," I told her. "If you wanted him to have control, you should have used your money, not mine." She sighed into the phone. "You're always so cold. Maybe if you stopped taking advantage, I'd warm up again." Then I hung up. By late afternoon, I'd changed passwords, updated signatories, and created a private email backup. Nadia came by with printed confirmation reports. "All cards but yours are disabled. Auto pays off. Payroll lists on your desk." "Thanks," I said. "Go home early." She nodded, still worried. When she left, I pulled the accounts payable vendor list. Every name matched except 2, both tied to Evan's consulting contacts. I'd never met them. No W-9s, no addresses. Shell vendors. I saved copies and bundled the vendor mismatches into a clean packet. Then I emailed them to myself, subject line personal record, like I'd done 100 times before when covering for my family's mess. Only this time, I wasn't covering anything. At 6, Dad walked in, irritated. "What the hell did you do to the cards?" "They were being misused," I said. "You don't get to decide that." "I just did," I said. "If Evan's a partner, he can fund his own expenses." His face turned red. "You think you're smarter than everyone else?" "No," I said, packing my laptop. "Just more careful." He started another sentence, but I was already at the door. That night at home, I sat at the kitchen table with my laptop open and added a final note under the spreadsheet I'd started the night before. Personal funds spent on family or business. Unreimbursed. $48,230. Next to it, I typed a simple line, "No more." I shut the laptop and stared at the dark screen for a second. I'd been raised to believe that being responsible meant fixing everything. Paying, managing, smoothing things over. Turns out, all it did was make me an easy target. The next morning, I was done thinking. I came into the office early, opened my laptop, and pulled up every wedding vendor contract still tied to my name. The first one was the venue. I called, gave them the contract number, and said, cancel it. The booking's under Lucas Ward. The manager hesitated for a second, then confirmed. Refunds go back to the original cards. I went down the list. The florist, the caterer, the tux rental, the travel agency for the honeymoon. Each call was short and polite. I didn't explain or justify anything. When they asked if something happened, I said, plans changed. Refund confirmations hit my inbox by afternoon. The funds posted over the next few business days. I made a new folder on my desktop. Refunds_confirmed. Dropped each PDF inside as soon as it came through. That stack would become Exhibit A. It felt like sorting laundry. No emotion. Just cleaning up what was already mine. By 10, I was halfway through checking our job site invoices when the office door slammed open. Evan walked in wearing his usual too-tight shirt and cheap cologne. You can't just pull funding, he said, voice sharp. I didn't even look up. Wasn't funding, I said. Was a refund. Big difference. He stepped closer to my desk. You think you're hurting me? You're just screwing over your sister. Then maybe she should have checked who signed the checks before she sent that text, I said. He stood there breathing hard, trying to look tough. You've got a problem with me. Take it up directly, he said. I am, I said. You're terminated as an employee. Partner or not, you're cut off from spend and systems. Leave the office. He laughed. You can't cut me off. I'm a partner. Then use your 15% to pay your own vendors, I said. Conversation's over. He opened his mouth again, but I pointed at the door. Out. He stood there a few seconds longer, then shouldered past. He cut too close to Nadia's desk. A single sheet skated to the floor. He didn't look back. Nadia looked at me as she picked them up. What was that about? Nothing I can't handle, I said. Just clearing out more dead weight. Not long after, Dad showed up. His tone was that mix of irritation and fake authority he always used when he thought yelling could fix things. I just got a call from Evan. What the hell are you doing? Cleaning up my accounts, I said. You're making a scene. The wedding's next month. Then maybe use your card next time, I said, gathering the files I needed. Don't walk away from me, Lucas. I walked past him anyway. I'm not walking away. I'm just done being your bank. I left him standing in the hall, red-faced and sputtering. By the afternoon, my phone was blowing up. First Mom's texts, "You've gone too far." Then Tara's posts started appearing on social media. She wrote a long paragraph about how her toxic brother had ruined her special day out of jealousy. The kind of thing people post when they need strangers to take their side. I didn't comment. I didn't even read the whole thing. But by evening, the comments started turning. People were asking who paid for what. Some of our relatives joined in, reminding her who'd covered the deposits. Then screenshots started surfacing. Old photos of me signing the venue paperwork. Messages from her thanking me for paying. I didn't leak any of it, but the internet doesn't need help finding receipts. Mom called 3 times that night. I let it ring. Dad texted once. Fix this before you embarrass everyone. I didn't answer him either. When I came in the next morning, Nadia was already at her desk. She looked nervous. Your family's all over Facebook, she said. I figured, I told her. She hesitated. You okay? I checked the inbox. Another round of refund confirmations had come in overnight. I moved them into the folder without looking at her. Better than before, I said. She nodded and went back to work. For the rest of the day, I kept my head down. Every email, every phone call, every project, I treated it like routine maintenance. That's what it was, really. Maintenance. I wasn't sabotaging anything. I was just removing my name from their chaos. By evening, I shut down the computer and sat for a minute in the quiet. The office was empty again, same as the night I got that text. Only difference was, now the weight was gone. No pending balances, no shared payments, no fake gratitude waiting to expire. Just clean books. My phone buzzed once more. A text from Tara this time. Just a single line. Hope you're happy, asshole. I turned the phone face down on the desk and stood up. They wanted a villain to blame. Fine. They could have one. I locked the door, turned off the lights, and left the building. Silence is louder when they expect an apology. By early summer, everything was cracking. The family group chat that I had muted months ago started lighting up again. I only looked because the notifications wouldn't stop. You owe your sister happiness. You'll embarrass us if you don't fix this. I left it unread after that. The next morning, I started getting calls from vendors we'd worked with for years. The first was Evergreen Supply, the one that handled our lumber orders. The manager sounded uncomfortable. Hey, Lucas, just wanted to double-check the new billing email. It says EH Consulting now. Is that legit? I froze for a second. Where did you get that address? From Gerald. He said it was the updated office contact. Don't send anything to it, I told him. Keep using the old invoices. Nothing changes until I say otherwise. When I hung up, I searched the company inbox. Sure enough, a new thread showed up that morning. Forwarded contracts from Dad's account to Evan at econsulting.com. No explanation, no copy to me or Nadia. Just quietly rerouted money. Evan was trying to build his own side door into our accounts. I walked out to the front office. Nadia was typing fast, nervous. They're acting weird, she said. Your mom and Evan both called asking for the master invoice log. Said they needed to adjust billing dates. Don't send it, I said. She nodded. They said you told me to do it. I didn't. She hesitated. They also want me to sign last month's purchase orders retroactively, backdated to March. Did you? No, I stalled. Good. Keep copies of everything they ask for. Every text, every file. Don't argue with them. Just save it somewhere safe. Her voice dropped. Lucas, this is fraud, isn't it? Maybe, I said. Just protect yourself. I'll handle the rest. I went back to my office, shut the door, and checked the shared drives. Half the company folders had been renamed. Evan's initials were on all of them. EHC_J OBS, EHC_PAYROLL, EHC_CONSULTS. He was trying to build a mirror company out of ours, using our contacts and contracts. By then, the accounting software had already started throwing duplicate vendor warnings in June. Nobody acted on them. That afternoon, Dad barged in without knocking. His shirt was untucked, face red. What the hell are you doing locking us out of our own system? I didn't lock you out, I said. You tried to create new ones. I'm hearing from suppliers saying you're blocking payments. I'm blocking fraud. Watch your mouth, kid, he snapped. You don't call your father a fraud. Then stop approving fake invoices. He glared at me like he couldn't decide whether to yell or throw something. Instead, he said, You're destroying this family. No, I said. You did that when you let Evan touch the books. He slammed the door on the way out. Later that week, I started hearing rumors from foremen at the job sites. Subcontractors complaining they hadn't been paid in 2 months. I checked our expense log. The payments were listed as sent, but the account numbers didn't match our usual vendors. Evan's email trails were all over them. I called one of the subcontractors myself. This is Lucas from Ward Construction. Have you received your payment for May? Not a dime, the guy said. We were told to resubmit the invoice to a new address. Some consulting firm. What name? EH Consulting. I didn't even bother pretending to be surprised anymore. That night, after everyone left, I sat in the dark office with only the monitor lighting the room. I opened every accounting folder I could find, one by one, and downloaded everything. Transactions, pay logs, bank statements, every suspicious entry tied to Evan's name. When it was done, I built an encrypted archive on my drive. It took 3 hours. Every file had to be double-checked, every document renamed and dated. I didn't edit or move anything from the company servers. I just made sure I had a clean record of what actually happened before someone decided to adjust history. By midnight, I had a neat archive of what my family had turned into: fake vendors, rerouted payments, and a growing trail of unpaid bills. The next morning, Nadia looked exhausted. She said Dad had shown up at a job site and started yelling at workers, accusing them of sabotaging the company. He blamed office mistakes for the unpaid subs. Some guys threatened to walk. One already quit on the spot. I told her to stay out of it and keep her head down. Don't take calls from my parents, I said. If they need something, they can come through me. She nodded. Lucas, how bad is it? Bad enough that I'm keeping everything backed up, I said. That's all you need to know. By that weekend, the company atmosphere was dead. Clients were calling about delays. Employees were asking if they'd still get paid, and my parents kept pretending everything was fine. At home, Mom left me another voicemail. I don't understand why you're trying to hurt us. Families should stick together. I deleted it without listening to the rest. The truth was, I wasn't trying to hurt anyone. I was just making sure their mess didn't bury me too. That Sunday night, I sat at my kitchen table again. The flash drive from earlier was plugged into my laptop. I opened my encrypted archive and scrolled through the files. Vendor lists, payroll, bank transfers, emails. Hundreds of them. They used to call me the safety net. Now I was just collecting what fell through it. Orbi. By July, things had hit the breaking point. The office felt heavy every day. Quiet hallways, skipped calls, and half the crew walking on eggshells. That morning, I came in early to finish a bid and found Dad and Evan already waiting in my office. Both were standing, arms crossed. It wasn't a meeting, it was an ambush. Dad started talking first. "We've had complaints," he said. "You're creating instability." "From who?" I asked. "Clients," he snapped. "They're nervous. You're cutting people off, questioning invoices, making it look like we're disorganized." I looked at Evan. "We are disorganized." Evan jumped in. "This attitude is the problem. You're making everyone think something shady's going on." "There is something shady going on," I said. "You rerouted vendor payments to your shell company." Dad slammed his hand on the desk. "Enough. You're not accusing family of theft. I'm stating facts," I said. He stepped closer. "You're out of control. You're making us look bad." I stared back at him, then stopped giving people reasons to look. He sighed, switched to his fake calm voice. "We need to take a step back. A temporary leave, just until things cool down." I knew what that meant. "So you're firing me?" "No," he said quickly. "Just a break." "Right," I said. "Send me the paperwork." Evan smirked like he'd won something. "We'll have our attorney draw it up." I nodded, sat down, and waited while Dad pulled a folder from his briefcase. The papers were already printed. He didn't even try to hide it. "Sign here acknowledging voluntary leave," he said. I skimmed it. "Standard release, no severance, no liability." I signed. "There. Problem solved." "Good," Dad said, relaxing a little. "We'll handle things from here." "I'm sure you will." Before they could say anything else, I turned to my computer, connected my flash drive, and quietly copied the remaining files from the shared system. Project folders, emails, payroll records, the final pieces. Evan noticed and opened his mouth to protest, but I cut him off. "It's my work. I'm taking what's mine." When the progress bar hit 100%, I ejected the drive, slid it into my pocket, and stood up. "We're done here." Dad tried to say something else about family loyalty, but I was already walking past them. Neither followed. That afternoon, I was home going through emails when the doorbell rang. I looked through the peephole. Tara. She was standing there with smudged mascara and shaking hands. I opened the door halfway. "You ruined everything," she said immediately. "You couldn't handle not being in charge, so you burned it all down." "No," I said. "I stopped paying for your fantasy." "You're unbelievable," she snapped. "You're supposed to be my brother." "I was. Right up until you cut me out on a group text." She started crying, then yelling again. It all came out in waves. How the wedding was canceled, how people were talking, how Mom said I'd lost it. I didn't interrupt. I just stood there until she ran out of things to say. Then my laptop dinged from the desk behind me. An email popped up from the venue manager. "Per your request, we've reinstated the original wedding booking. Please confirm the payment details." I opened it and read it twice. The message looked exactly like my style. Same subject line, same signature block. I pulled the full headers. The origin IP resolved to my parents' home Wi-Fi. I turned the screen toward Tara. "Tell Mom to at least change the subject line next time." She froze, face draining of color. "What are you talking about?" "I'm talking about your family impersonating me to steal back a reservation I paid for." "That's not true," she said, but her voice cracked halfway through. I closed the laptop and stepped back from the door. "You should go." She stood there for a second, then left without another word. The sound of her car tires peeling off was the only thing that broke the quiet. That night, I went through the company's insurance folder. It was something I'd avoided for years, because it was always buried under tax forms and renewal letters. This time, I took my time. Halfway through, I found a key person policy listing me as the insured. 3 months ago, someone filed an ownership change from Ward Construction to Denise Ward, and the beneficiary update that followed named Tara. The premium reimbursements still ran through the company. I sat back in my chair and stared at the page. They'd set it up so if anything happened to me, she'd collect. I laughed once. Not angry, just tired. It felt like confirmation of what I already knew. They didn't see me as family anymore, just a resource. My phone buzzed on the table. A text from Mom. "You'll regret crossing us." I typed back, "Already don't." Then I set the phone down and opened a new spreadsheet. I named it Clean Report July, something a court reporter could pronounce without asking twice. I started listing every transaction tied to me. Loans, reimbursements, deposits, refunds, everything. No edits, no opinions. Just the truth. I tagged the file in my notes as Exhibit B. When I finished, I saved it twice, once locally, once on the drive. They thought I'd fight, but there was nothing left to argue about. They wanted chaos. I wanted records. They thought I'd fight. I just started documenting. By fall, the Ward family was pretending everything was fine again. Tara and Evan had a quick courthouse wedding, no dress, no guests, just a picture in front of a brick wall and a caption that said, "Simple love greater than big drama." It looked like a hostage photo. I didn't comment, didn't text. A week later, she messaged me anyway. "Can I borrow $5,000 to get ahead on bills? Evan's commission hasn't cleared yet." I stared at the message for a minute, then replied, "Sure, you'll get a loan agreement shortly." I opened a contract template from my files, added her name, set it at 6% interest, 6 months, and a collateral clause using her engagement ring as security if the loan defaulted. No tricks, just clean, legal language. I signed it and sent it as a PDF. 2 hours later, the document came back with her digital signature at the bottom. No message attached. I transferred the money. No emojis, no congrats. Business only. The next morning, I met Nadia at a diner near the industrial park. She looked tired but calm. I slid 2 thin folders across the table. One labeled refunds confirmed, the other a compiled packet of company accounts. She glanced at them, then at me. "You sure you want me handling this?" "Yes," I said. "Submit everything clean. No favors for anyone. Not for me, not for them." She opened the folders, flipping through pages. "There are a lot of mismatched numbers here." "I know. Don't fix them. Just file them the right way." She nodded slowly. "This is going to raise questions." "Good," I said. We finished breakfast mostly in silence. When we got up to leave, she hesitated. "Lucas, if this goes south, they're going to blame you." "They already did," I said. "This just gives them a reason they can't argue with." Over the next few weeks, Nadia worked through the company's year-end bookkeeping. She didn't hide anything. Every duplicate invoice, every fake vendor, every expense under Evan's name. The system's reconciliation software automatically flagged the inconsistencies. Once that happened, everything else was out of our hands. It didn't take long. Within 10 days, she forwarded me a short email from our accounting software provider. The subject line read, "Account irregularities detected. Flagged to your connected external CPA. An audit-ready packet is available upon request." She added one line underneath, "It's done." I replied, "Thank you." That was it. No big speech, no panic. Just a process doing what it was built to do. Record and correct. A few days later, I boxed up some things for Tara. I didn't owe her a gift, but I wanted to close the loop. I used a matte black box, simple and neat. Inside, I placed a printed copy of her signed loan agreement, the original refund receipt from the wedding venue, a small metal plaque engraved with 3 words, "Paid in full, eventually." I left the box with the front desk clerk at her apartment building. No note. She'd understand it either way. That same evening, my phone buzzed with a voicemail. Victor Hale, the family lawyer, sounding cautious. "Hey, Lucas. Just a heads up, the auditors requested full company records. Not sure what triggered it, but it's official now. Call me back when you can." I didn't call him back. I listened once, saved it, and hit delete. At that point, I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't even curious about how it would play out. I'd spent months watching my family twist every situation to their advantage. Now the system they'd abused was finally paying attention. It wasn't revenge. It was math. Every action had a record, every lie had a timestamp, and all I did was stop cleaning their mess. Work quieted down after that. I still had side projects and a few loyal clients who followed me out of the company. I didn't tell anyone what happened. I just kept working, kept organizing, kept documenting. Nadia stopped by with a flash drive. Backup copies, just in case. That weekend, I stashed it in my safe and labeled it Company, 2025, Final. A week later, I heard from a mutual contact that Evan had been panicking about tax questions. He was calling everyone he knew, saying the system glitched and mixed up their accounts. Typical. My parents were still pretending nothing was wrong, telling friends that some clerical issue had delayed payroll. I didn't say a word. The truth doesn't need help. That night, sitting at my kitchen table again, I opened a fresh spreadsheet. I titled it Post Company Assets and listed my balances, savings, and pending projects. All clean. All honest. The phone buzzed again. A text from Mom this time. Just one line. "You should fix this before it gets worse." I didn't respond. There was nothing to fix. I turned off my phone, closed the laptop, and leaned back in my chair. They built their empire on silence and favors. I built my peace on paperwork. I didn't tip anyone off. I just stopped lying for them. By winter, the letters started coming. Thick white envelopes stamped with state seals and long reference numbers. They went straight to the Ward house first. Requests for documentation, tax corrections, and account reviews. Every week, another one showed up. A friend who still worked in the office told me the stack on Dad's desk looked like a small phone book. He was yelling every morning now, pacing between his office and the break room, blaming clerical mistakes and snitches. Then it hit the rest of them. Tara's car got repossessed right out of her office parking lot. Someone filmed it and posted it online. She tried to spin it with a caption, dealing with haters and financial stress, but staying positive. The comments were brutal. Mom took to Facebook again, claiming the unfair system was targeting small family businesses. She called herself a mother wronged by bureaucracy. Dad followed with his own rant about betrayal by your own blood. People shared screenshots of both posts with laughing emojis. By January, Ward Construction was unofficially dead. Suppliers were gossiping about unpaid balances, fake invoices, and missing checks. Clients backed out of contracts. The name Ward became a warning, not a reference. I stayed quiet. I still had copies of everything, but I didn't need to use them. The truth was already working on its own. Then came the lawsuit. A courier showed up at my door with a thick folder stamped civil complaint. The Wards, meaning my parents and Evan, were suing me for business sabotage and intentional interference with operations. I read through it once. The claims were vague, mostly emotion wrapped in legal terms. They wanted damages, reputation repair, even court fees. I called the number listed for their attorney, Victor Hale. "Did you really file this?" I asked. He sighed. "They insisted." I advised against it. "When's deposition?" "2 weeks." He paused before hanging up. "Lucas, you might actually want to come to this one." The deposition was held in a plain downtown office. No judge, no drama. Just a long table, a court reporter, and a pile of folders. My parents sat on one side, arms crossed, faces tight. Evan looked like he hadn't slept in days. Tara didn't show. Their lawyer started by reading statements about how I'd sabotaged systems, restricted access, and triggered a financial review out of revenge. When it was my turn, I said one line. I left in July. The system started flagging vendor discrepancies in June. The formal audit kicked off in September. I didn't trigger anything. My attorney slid an exhibit across the table. "That's true," he said. The accounting platform began auto-flagging those discrepancies in June, before Mr. Ward left. The external audit engagement began in September. That sequence is documented. Dad's face went pale. Mom whispered something under her breath. Evan just stared at the table. Their lawyer tried to object, but my attorney kept talking. "For the record, there's documentation of all transactions, and none point to Lucas Ward as the source of the issue." The court reporter paused, just long enough to feel the air go out of the room. Their lawyer closed his folder. No further questions. We adjourned. On the way out, my attorney slid 2 folders across the table. Refunds confirmed, marked as Exhibit A, and clean report R July as Exhibit B. No speeches, just labels. Afterward, Dad caught up with me in the hallway. His voice shook. "You destroyed this family's name." I looked at him. I didn't ruin anything. I balanced it. He didn't answer. He just walked away, muttering about loyalty. That afternoon, I signed my final separation papers. The company owed me for outstanding vacation pay and a small percentage of old projects. I took the payout, direct deposit only, and that was the end of it. A week later, their attorney filed a notice of voluntary dismissal. By February, I'd registered my new company, Ward Ledger Group. 1 person, 1 desk, 1 laptop. I didn't want crews or overhead, just small business clients who wanted clean books and honest advice. I worked quietly out of a rented office downtown. A few old contacts found me through word of mouth. The work wasn't flashy, but it was solid. Nadia helped me set up the systems. She was doing freelance accounting by then. "Feels weird starting over," she said one night while we were going over new client files. "It's better this way," I told her. "Smaller, cleaner." She smiled. "And quieter." Exactly. The next morning, I walked into my small office, made coffee, and opened my client dashboard. The sun hit the blinds just right, and for the first time in years, I didn't feel like I owed anyone anything. They called it betrayal. I call it balance. I didn't burn the bridge, I just stopped carrying them across. YouTube just dropped this new hype feature. If you're hooked on this story, smash that hype button. It tells YouTube this video deserves to blow up, and it keeps even crazier stories coming your way.